Thank you. Assemblywoman Diaz.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman and ladies. Mrs. Gray and Ms. Cavallero, being a public school educator myself, I've felt that frustration of not being given the tools to recognize what disabilities my students and former students might have had. We just saw a lack of progress. We tried as much as we could, but I concur with you that there is this sentiment that we say kids aren't dyslexic, that we don't train our teachers on identifying dyslexia, and then furthermore, we don't train our teachers on how to identify it and how to then intervene. So my questions are along the lines of, does it require a lot more manpower to implement this? Because I was reading through the bill and I'm like, we already do RTI in many schools, especially for our struggling students. So I know that there needs to be just a little tweak and a little bit of training in order for teachers to recognize and then take the next step to help their kids, because that's why we don't want our kids to fall further and further behind. And what does an intervention model look like? So once you identify this child has dyslexia, is it 90 minutes every day or a week? Or I just kind of want a frame of reference about, is there additional manpower and expertise that is needed? What does the intervention model look like? And I also wanted to know stats about, does this affect all children regardless of
Yes.
cultural backgrounds? Because in the slides I was trying to see, I was like, well, I don't know. I don't see too many other ethnicities being represented, so I wanted to know those.
Dyslexia is across the world. It's international. It doesn't matter if you have an alphabetic system or if you have a pictorial system like Japan or China. So, and it seems to be that culturally it doesn't matter. It's about 15%, give or take a few percentages, in every country across the world. Your other questions. One thing about RTI that I've noticed at my school, we use the IC model, the instructional consultation model that's been adopted by Nevada, but often they look at micro skills and they think if I give 15 minutes of tutoring, or 5 minutes of tutoring every day to this child, they're going to get up to grade level. And I see reading as a much more global picture and much bigger than that. And so I always had a little bit of discomfort with what was happening with the RTI model. With dyslexia, the child needs multisensory, so we use colored tiles when we are working with phonemic awareness way before we even get to letters. And they manipulate, and they segment sounds, and they practice breaking apart words that are just through auditory. And they practice replacing sounds and deleting sounds. And we just work a lot with that type of auditory work. Often a dyslexic will often have rapid naming problems. And so they'll be able to come up with a word, but they won't be able to come up with, or they know a lot about tornadoes, for example, but they can't come up with the word. And they have retrieval issues. So some of my students have a very strong visual memory, some don't. I mean, everyone's a little bit different. After we've gone through very systematic work with phonemic awareness, we go into teaching the letter sounds. The problem is with our public schools, we often teach phonics, and phonics doesn't help a child with dyslexia because that's not how they read. They read by sight. And they take a picture of every word, and they'll take a picture of the word cat, and they take a picture of the word dog, and they file all the pictures in their mind. Well, by 3rd or 4th grade, when 70% of the text is multisyllable words, they have no strategies. No, they can't cope. And so they really start to fall down. They kind of hit the wall there. But the ones I identify early, we work through the phonemic awareness issues. We work through the phonics issues. They learn 3 letters, simple words, CVC patterns. We continue, and it's very systematic and built skill upon skill. And we use all of our modalities as we're learning. I don't know if that helps.
And then the last part of it was how much expertise is needed to implement the plan in terms of do we need so many psychiatrists or neurologists?
Don't need
or...
any more psychologists to do this. It really is very easy to screen and should be something that the reading specialist is able to do. I don't believe we need any additional licensed personnel to manage this. I really believe with paraprofessionals at my level, let's say on an average 1 teacher's aide per 200 students, I would probably be able to service all of the kids that I need to.